Our fifth speaker from Olivia Watson's class she's a sophomore, a middle childhood education major from Mayfield Heights, Ohio, and her name is Annabeth Suchy.
Tampons and pads and fruity deodorant, pens, bike helmets, and for her marketing placement. T-shirts and blue jeans, razors colored pink. These are not some of my favorite things, but they are some of the items on a very long list of those affected by the pink tax. Roughly 61% of all Kent State students and over half of the students in my communications class are female. I myself am female, and I buy most of these products. Therefore, I am a consumer that is being taken advantage of. The pink tax is a type of price discrimination that, as I said, takes advantage of a captive set of consumers, and action needs to be taken to diminish this unfair practice, or else it will continue to impede on basic human rights, like those to health, education, and dignity. First, let's take a look at how widespread the pink tax is, and how it can manifest in different ways depending on the item. Carolyn B. Maloney wrote an article titled The Pink Tax in 2016 for the Joint Economic Committee of the U.S. Congress. She describes it as a markup on goods and services marketed towards women, and goes further to explain that the frequency at which this happens effectively becomes a tax on being a woman. The pink tax can range across all store departments, from clothing to toys to hygiene products and even office supplies. And as you can see from these examples, the only real difference between these items are the color and maybe the use of marketing phrases like women's or for her. As you can see now these examples could be seen as petty or trivial, but the pink tax does become very literal when talking about hygiene products that only females have a need for. I'm talking about tampons, pads, menstrual cups, and so on. As you can see on this diagram from an NPR article published in March 2018 titled More States Move to End the Tampon Tax by Emma Zagner, most states in the United States still have these items under their regular sales tax. This is because these items do not qualify as necessities. Items that do qualify as necessities include food, bandages, and of course, Viagra. Feminine hygiene products are usually seen as luxury items and therefore do not qualify for tax exemption. Now that we have seen how widespread the tampon tax is, let's talk about some solutions that can be used to combat it. In regards to the price disparity, products like razors can be bought as men's or unisex and probably still work the same. However, there's really nothing stopping the price disparity for products like deodorant and shampoo. State and local legislation can be used to diminish price gaps for services like haircuts, and that's also what needs to happen to diminish the sales tax or remove the sales tax on feminine hygiene items. As you can see here, 14 states in the United States do not tax these items. And according to Karen Zrake in her July 2018 article, It's Not Just the Tampon Tax, for the New York Times, both Kenya and Uganda abolished the sales tax on menstrual hygiene products. And the Kenyan government also provides funding for pads in schools. Measures like these makes these products more accessible for women and girls, especially those that may not always have the money to accommodate the extra tax. However, if measures like these are not taken, there can be some very poor outcomes, especially for women in poverty. Generally, people in poverty struggle to make ends meet, and the pink tax is one of many factors that makes this an even bigger challenge. Emma Zagner quoted Ohio State Representative Bridget Kelly when she said, "The sales tax on these items does not amount to much, but when you're trying to figure out if you can give your kid milk money, then it is impactful in a very significant way." Additionally, Karen Zrake found that some studies in Kenya have found that poorer girls may even trade sex to afford pads. Additionally, some females in poverty may feel the need to make their products last longer if they can't afford more at the time. This can increase risks of developing infections and even toxic shock syndrome, which can be life-threatening. Finally, the pink tax can start to tread on basic human rights, like those to health, education, and dignity. Bridget J. Crawford explored this in her 2017 article, Tampon Taxes, Discrimination, and Human Rights for Pace Law Faculty Publications. In regards to the right to health, she says that this tax makes it more difficult for women, especially poor women, to practice good menstrual hygiene. This can begin to go against Article 12 of the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. This states that everyone has the right to access to the highest attainable standard of health. In regards to the right to education, Crawford said that lack of adequate menstrual hygiene can cause women and girls to stay home from school and fail to participate fully in public life. Finally, Crawford recognizes the human right to dignity, and she states that this tax makes it difficult to maintain the cleanliness of women's body, and therefore subjects them to ridicule and stigma for that very lack of cleanliness. Pads, tampons, menstrual cups, these are necessities for women. And the pink tax makes it more difficult for women, especially those in poverty, to have access to these products. And this can impede on their basic human rights as human beings. Now that we have looked at how widespread the tampon tax is, some of the issues that it can cause some women and girls in poverty, and the fact that the only solution really needed is state and local legislation, I hope you have a better understanding of this issue. Thankfully, there are some programs, like the one here at Kent State, that offer free pads and tampons in bathrooms for those that need them. Additionally, periodequity.org has links to multiple petitions you could sign or organizations you could donate to lend your support for menstrual equity movements. I personally can't name a single woman that has called her period a luxury. So why on earth are these products being treated like it is? Thank you.